Hey everyone, happy new moon. I thought I would pop on. I'm feeling the call to speak because tomorrow, Black Moon Lilith goes opposite the sun and the moon that are together. So I've had a very powerful week and I want to talk a bit about the potential of this 9-day portal we're in with Black Moon Lilith and how it's brought up for me personally a lot of shadow work, but knowing the process of how to do shadow work quite rapidly, I feel like where I was a long time ago to what I do now is a very rapid process. And being able to have a tool like this, which follows the 9-day portal transits of the Black Moon Lilith for the mean calculation, just helps hone in the depth of the potential of the whole reason why we do shadow work, right? So this week has been like a huge blessing. Obviously, I had my first live workshops to do with Black Moon Lilith, funnily enough, on the weekend. I've done them online and I've done them, I've been talking about this connection with Black Moon Lilith as a practice, for over a year. And that all started with then channeling the Lilith book. That's how it came into my awareness. And it's been such a journey. It's really become embodied with the work that I do, which is my connection with goddess energies, divine feminine energies. And, bringing it out into a live workshop and witnessing, I got to witness people have direct experiences of releasing some energy, which I'm assuming for them will make shifts and bring more flow and magic into their lives, right? That's the purpose of shadow work, right? But I got to witness them having the direct experience. So that obviously I take this all very seriously, and at the same time I've got to remind myself it's not my responsibility to help everyone. I have to do it for myself. I certainly have to live this, but I can hold the space for it because I'm not afraid of that. Just because of the word shadows there, it's actually not scary. All of that old excess energy is illusionary when we tap onto that fear, which is why I'm doing the 6-week course to get over your fear of it. But anyway, it brought me to go on and have a look at the astrology. Specifically, I'm starting to feel like I want to look at the Black Moon in relationship to the moon. Yeah, and obviously they're not always opposite, that they actually do come together once a year, but or around about that. But I wanted to look at it like visually. So that's going to be a start of a new journey. And it's funny, coming out of the witch school, I knew I could feel immediately as that weekend started things dissolving and new stuff coming. I had no idea what the new stuff was. And this is it. It's starting to come into form and into my consciousness and going deeper into this space that I'm holding now, which I call shadow work. It is really a healing modality of coming to look at your deep true self, of where you've been, what you're holding on to, and also knowing when that releases, knowing something about the mystery of life. It's just very hard to put into words, but you can experience it for yourself. And then you can have that knowledge forever of how to process stuff rapidly, right? Because we don't want to carry it around and 20 years later go, oh, I've got to deal with this now. Let's get rid of it. We need better systems. So all I'm doing is holding this space for a system that works for me, may or may not work for you, which I call energetic shadow work. But it is coming face to face with your true self and are doing the work to release that karma that's there right at that base level with ease, as easy as possible, with truth. So The portal, I never know. So I've written out this for 2026. And so I'm just about, probably in another month, I'll start 2027 and hopefully have it out before Christmas for you guys. And you know, it comes with the online group, so you can tap into that. There's loads of stuff in there that's just free. You go on twice a year. I open up live sessions. I'm available on there to chat. There's meditations on there just to get this whole body of work of processing karmic energies out. I know other people, I'm starting to see in the world, other people doing their own versions, which I'm tapping into because they sit perfectly along this. And it's so awesome. I love the way I manifest now isn't me manifesting from my mind, which is awesome. It is a manifestation from my soul, and I experience it for myself. Either in meditation, I'll get visuals and downloads, or I'll get stories and I create things, and then I start to see it out in the world. So it's like confirmation. And I love that. So that's very nice. But this portal that we're in now, so we're kind of a little bit past the midpoint. So the 9-day portal of the Black Moon Lilith. She moves every 9 days along, roughly, but it's pretty much 9 days. The easiest way to look at it is 19 degrees Sagittarius. And I kind of thought this one would be a really nice one because I was doing some imagery to go with it for socials, and it was like pelicans and running from the Sabian symbol, and the pelicans, it was like they're trying to feed their young, and you know, the environment around them is just gross. And you know, it's because the Sabian symbol's old, it speaks in a bit of sexist terms, like, so men are not taking care of the environment, making it dirty, so the pelicans have to uproot and take themselves to another location that's suitable for them and their kids. And the thing I love about this book is when I start, I don't know how it's going to come out, but obviously the experience of doing my first workshops and then having to process seriously what I see and what I hear, the feedback that I get from people, and I have to sit with that. And then I have to kind of, whatever comes up for me, do my own shadow work on, which I did have to do this time because I'm not perfect. And I do the work too, you know, and you know, shadow work isn't a one and done. It is a forever thing. And there's layers on layers and, you know, things that have come up. You know, I'm still testing my own self of, I know I'm authentic, although I hate that's a cringy word because obviously everything's in motion and movement. So from an outside perspective, it's not like we can lock that down. So, you know, be open with that word, but definitely I'm true to myself. And I'm always trying to tether in that higher perspective. I don't want to do anything on my own, and certainly not from just ego. But finding my thread back to what I was saying. But yes, I take it really seriously, and, you know, I've got to process things that come up, which for me, it's still around being valuable and vulnerable. So, and not trying to take on the whole responsibility of the whole world, but from myself, even though technically, you know, my ability, because it's really my ability to respond, and a big part of my seriousness is feedback, you know, however that comes. It can come in people talking to me, witnessing things, getting paid for things, getting reviews. I take every review very seriously, and I sit with it and drop it into my higher self, and we just see what comes out. Some of it's not really for me, but some of it is. And I move and shift constantly with that, so that, you know, I'm doing something with meaning that's not just for me. So I had to do a lot of processing, and I had this whole shutdown on the Monday where I just basically meditated all day, lots of vibrations, lots of I don't know if I'm going to explain this right, but sort of internal vibratory states and vibrations processing through. It's very external and still now jerky, a little bit jerky. So if you've got information on that, I'd love to know, because I actually don't really like the jerkiness. I like the internal vibration state. I've been, sensing that for a long time. So I'm used to it and it's just pleasant now. In the beginning, I didn't know what it was. So I was like, what is going on? So the journey of shadow work is a part of my life. It's manifested this way in me looking at my mental environment, yeah? So it's like challenging my beliefs of or my old structures. Sometimes they're not even beliefs. They're just there in the karmic structural shadow that overlays other things. Often it's gifts or free energy just moving through. So we want to get to that stuff. But so for me, it's been about looking and standing face to face with the old, over-cluttered environment of my old structures of some of these karmic knots that I wasn't aware of, and just sitting with them. And actually it just came down to just really feeling them and giving myself permission to feel them. And it's really interesting because as we come to the last few days of this, now I'm reading it with different eyes, the portal, and the one bit stood out, which was shadow work at this time reveals very deep truths. And sometimes these truths you can't really, it's not, thinking mind is less intelligent than the expanded knowingness. So you don't have to put story to everything, but you kind of sense it and the truth of it. So it says shadow work here reveals a very deep truth. You are not alone. And so last night I put through my Hay House proposal for one of my books, my very first time. See, doing the shadow work led me to get to a place that pushed me to just put the proposal in. I didn't know how much I was holding myself back. I kept thinking I had to rewrite it, make it better. And in the end, I just went, you know what? It's going in today. But that's what shadow work gives you, see, because it frees up that energy and that clarity. And I was holding myself back. But then last night I gifted myself this healing modality that I'm exploring because it resonates with this shadow work, even though it's not called shadow work at all. Totally said from a different lens, but very nicely aligned. And I'm loving it because I feel like we're saying the same stuff, but in totally different ways. It's so incredible. The synchronicity is like a mirror effect. It's beautiful. And so, that makes me not feel alone because I'm not just out on a limb going, I think this works for me, but is it like, am I just making up, this just makes my own sense, or, is this for others as well? So that's that. But it was all work on, you don't have to be alone. And I realized it, a big thing that for my whole life, I have really stood on my own 2 feet from a very young age. And I just didn't even cross my mind to ask people for help. So this is interesting change. I don't know how that will manifest later on, but it brings new energy and new possibilities in. And this is the point of shadow work. It's about moving forward in life with newness, yeah? Just like a kid moves forward in life and everything's exciting. It's gaining that momentum back. So I just thought I would bring that to your awareness in case you're also being called to shadow work. And with the moon and the sun together opposite Black Moon Lilith, so we've got all the externalization being very visible around our feelings and emotions. And if they're triggering us, which I'm assuming it will be for a lot of people who don't tend to go inwards and look at themselves, then the Black Moon Lilith is really pushing at that. Do something about it. Do something about it. You've got the power. Do something about it. Clean this up. Clean up the internal mess. Yeah? So I want to bring that to awareness because right now tomorrow and the next day, wonderful time to do that. So I hope that makes sense. And I'd love to know what you think. I'm thinking of doing more videos like this, and I need your feedback to know if they're important and useful. Thank you. Bye.